James Apietu Ankra is a former member of parliament for Lower West Achim, currently occupied by Gifty Clenham, who also has been taken off a seat for now. Means that just won't be contesting as the parliamentary candidate for the MPP. Well instigated by those who had to do the instigation. And thank you for joining me this morning. And we also have the aspiring parliamentary candidate for the NDC for Ekumfi. He's also a former member of parliament for that same constituency. And thanks for joining me, George Kuntublanks.
Yeah, thank you, my brother.
And thanks for joining me, my own uncle. And we hope to make sure that we deal with the subjective issues. And notably, we'll have to start with a suit that has been filed by one Justice Derry against Anas Arime-Yawanas. We know that Anas, well, since the last time we met here, published the excerpt of his investigation. That is the fallout out of it, and following that, it caused a lot of rancor, or if not a lot of disavowment, especially in the legal profession or the judiciary of our country. Let me start with you first. All of you, give me your preliminary comment on what you make of the video and the report itself, the investigations and the fallout thereof, before we discuss the substantive about the suits and things like that.
Thank you very much, Gula. The Anas issue is giving us a lot of legal education, because we are being told by some lawyers that, look, you cannot provoke.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
First, tell me about what you feel about the whole essay, the investigation itself, and what it has unraveled.
Well, I think that the perception that all of us have been through now is being analysis investigation is giving some credence to that perception that really the issue of corruption in the judiciary is there. I mean, it is real. It's no more a perception as it were. So my view is that it's good, at least for now. Those who were not named or showed on the video now will be very alert. I mean, the magistrates, the judges, and all those, and even the workers in the judiciary, they would be alert now that this thing has started. And it is good for us as a country as we try to fight corruption generally.
Your preliminary comments.
Yeah, Roland, let me take this opportunity to salute our viewers out there, both internal and external, and more especially in my constituency, Ekumfi. I give them good morning. Roland, it reminds me a story when I was young and my father told me something that, my son, when you see a judge, you've seen God. Because a judge is quoted in our African parlance that they represent God on his head, because God gives justice. He judges over all personnel. And you could remember that has been echoed by even the Chief Justice when he took over office. He was talking about perceived corrupt practices of some of the judges, not all. He spoke about it. I remember when the popular court case also came, some issues were alluded to, some of the judges. And all what is happening, I see it as a payback time for whatever you do in the hidden. So it sounds as a warning to every Tom, Dick, and Harry of the nation that if you do anything you think you are hiding, there's somebody watching you. Because you remember whenever I come and sit here and I talk to you, I said, when you are looking about something, you look at the left, you look at the right, you look at the back, and you see that nobody's watching you, look up there. Well, it is the Lord who inspires people to come with what is in secret. So when you read Jeremiah 33 verse 3, he said, call on me, and I will show you the secrets that is in hidden, that you don't know of. So there's a day of reckoning for every citizen. No matter what your stature, no matter your position in the society, be careful that you are handling people. And once you are handling people, there's somebody watching over you, because somebody created the people. So if you say I should give you my brief, I just want to tell the whole nation that we must be careful, because there is a day of reckoning.
But the substantives. The point is, this all has to be factored in law, and whatever it is. And you started a commentary about what the legal brains are saying and what the debate is about how even the piece of investigation really was acquired, whether it's admissible in court and things like that.
Right. I was saying that the legal brains are telling us that you cannot provoke something and then you, the same person, go back to court and, as it were, report or go to the police to report the person that you provoked. In other words, if you give bribe, you can't go and say that this person has taken bribe from me when you initiated the bribe, as it were. Again, all of us, for now, do not know Anas, except those who are his friends as a nation. Now, one of the judges is in court, Justice Derry. If it comes to cross-examination, will Anas be called to go and stand and give evidence, or will he be protected? As we speak, the Attorney General is giving him immunity. Does the immunity cover him to that stage that he would not be expected to be in court to be cross-examined? Even when the judge decides that for some, or the prosecution, for some reason, they should have their discussion in chambers, the trial in chambers. At the chambers, you have to appear at least to the accused, those who have been allegedly whether they have collected bribe, would see Anas now face to face and can identify him. Are we going to get to that stage? Otherwise, it appears to me that technically we will have some technical reasons to get them off the hook, because I cannot see the situation where Anas will be prepared to openly take off his veil and let everybody, the alleged bribe takers and their lawyers, and see him openly. I don't know. That is my personal view, because he's been undercover all this while. At the Osu Children's Home, at the border, at the Lubu, at customs. Nobody has been able to identify. But I'm told that some people have been prosecuted based on his investigation. Why are we now getting into the realm of this? And it's the same judges who jailed those people. At that point, they didn't tell us that there's a principle which says that you cannot provoke something and you yourself bring the... But
so you're saying there's a precedent. So why is it that this one becomes an anomaly?
An anomaly, that is why. Is it because now they are telling us that they know the law, so now they'll use the law and get their friends off the hook?
It's an interesting issue, because Justice Derry, he filed the suit, and that will mean also, well, summoning Anas before the court, yes, so to speak. I have to pick your thought on that.
The case is very interesting, and I'm enjoying it, because
you're enjoying the whole
I'm telling you, I'm enjoying the whole thing. That brings back to the Animal Farm story
by George Orwell.
Of course. There's no fairness in society that we are all living in. When it is you think it should be done this way. When it is Kwajo, it should be treated in this way. Meanwhile, we have a law that governs everybody in the society. The well lies and integrity of the law that we have all promulgated for our governance in this country. That's what I'm saying. It's interesting, amazing. To me, it's very amazing. Look, when this issue came, now you could see a lot of fine lawyers coming out, invoking some portions of the Constitution to defend themselves. When those people in SEPS, those people in children's home, were trapped in that purview of the law, what happened to them? Do unto others what you expect them to do unto you. You understand? And this is another case that I want all of us to analyze it very, very, very critically. Very, very critically. Without any equivocation. Because Ghana is for all of us. And Ghana is governed by a constitution. What does the constitution say? And also we should ask another question. Who is Anas? Is he a government worker? Or is he into a profession And what are the ethics of those professions? What are the laws that govern that profession that Anas is doing? Is he permitted to do that by the law? If he's permitted, why is it that they are now invoking section of the Constitution to attack him? I know Anas is a journalist, investigative journalist, into criminal activities. So he's being governed by the act that governs journalism. You understand? And he's immune by certain portions of the law to protect his integrity and his life because he's a citizen. You understand? So I don't see whatever people are saying that Anas should not be permitted to do what is right with regards to his work ethics. If he's found foul with the law must deal with him. If he's not found foul with the law, he must be allowed to proceed, because unearthing all those things that are going is helping the country to clean up our things which are affecting the fabric of the society and as well the generation yet unborn.
But we know that the Ghana Bar Association, they are having their annual congress, or is a conference in Kumasi, and there was also the Otumfuo Setu, and also we had the Chief Justice and former President John Agyekum Kufuor addressing the conference. We hear from the Chief Justice, and then we'll come and do a little of discussion. We'll be hearing from former President John Agyekum Kufuor as well.
Now, these alleged ignoble acts of betrayal by these persons, entrusted with the honor of serving our country, but who, it is alleged, chose rather to do exactly the opposite, to serve their own selfish personal goals of enrichment, as you know, are being investigated. As we investigate the various acts or the various alleged acts of gross misconduct, we will ensure that the rule of law, with all the constitutional guarantees and safeguards afforded to all persons accused of stated misconduct, are fully respected. We cannot do otherwise. We are a justice institution birthed in the principles of fair trial and the natural justice principles that we are all too familiar with. The events of the past few days have not robbed us of our institutional origins or identity or integrity. Our fidelity to the rule of law remains intact. Where culpability is established, the Judicial Council is determined to swiftly and decisively apply the appropriate sanctions in accordance with the laws.
And also speaking at that very conference was former President Agyekum Kufuor, so we also listened to him.
If we are to be candid to ourselves, we should all admit that the canker has eaten deep and wide into the social fabric of our society and at all levels of society. Removing the scab on a sore should be the first act. That's exposure for treating this corruption that has bedeviled our society and undermined its standing in the Committee of Nations. Our institutions for checking corruption do not seem to be working, and it has had to take the spearheading by a single individual to unearth such a massive scale of corruption.
And so former President John Agyekum Kufuor there. I have to first ask you your comment about the two and what they said.
Well, I am excited about what the Chief Justice has said, because she is the embodiment of the whole thing, and at this point where she is the Chief Justice of this nation, the position she's taking, that it will not be during her time that such a thing will, and that she will do, from what I'm picking from her, she will do everything to get to the bottom of this thing and make sure that whoever is culpable would face the law. I mean, like any ordinary citizen, and I'm excited about that.
It's almost an admonition that, well, I as Chief Justice had given the commitment since I assumed office that I thought there was something wrong with my institution, and so we had been making the effort, and this one comes at an impetus time. And Judge Kutu Blankson, the former president, also said we should cast the net even wider beyond the judiciary, he said.
Well, if he says that we should cast the net wider, then there's a need for us to revisit our constitution. And there are certain aspects of the constitution should be amended so that everybody will be brought to book. Oh, yes. Yes, because, you know, this country is a country that we have a lot of resources which can be shared equitably to satisfy every citizen of the nation. But because of this canker, some people are left at the fringes suffering because of selfishness, greed, and rancor. You understand? So if he has been on the driving seat, he knows what he's talking about. So once he said that the net should be extended, then we must look into our constitution. Where we need certain amendment, we should do it. So I will start casting the net. Then we'll see who will fall into the hook. Then we will learn that, oh, not knowing that they were there, this man also was doing this. Then if so, then next time we shouldn't go there again. You understand? Because he said, I'm very happy that what they all said, the woman has proved that she's a virtuous woman. No, I told you one thing. That there's one thing we have not taken notice as Ghanaians. Ghana, we have our culture and we have our heritage. In homes where people are brought up, if you were a thief, you start from the infancy. No matter where you will be, you grow with it. As you are graduating from university, you are graduating that attitude. So you grow up with it, you cannot do away with it.
Well, people also change. They adopt certain... yes.
That's the virtue of your training. Because
out of home habits, so to speak. Not necessarily a tenet of what they may have learned.
That is why I say out of home habit. That is what I'm talking about. A habit acquired in the house is very difficult to change. Because when you are there, you are not cautioned that what you are doing is bad. Like, for example, you are my nephew. Always I say, you go and buy me kenke. I give you 10 cedis. Buy kenke, a ball of kenke is 5 cedis. When you pocket the 5 cedis you didn't give me, it's the beginning of thievery. If I don't check you and you continue Roland, what do you do?
I grew up to become a corrupt official.
Exactly so.
I still state money.
Exactly so.
Or my company's money.
And you see, what changes man is fear of the Lord. If you fear Lord, you know that what you are doing unto your brother is not good. You will not do it.
Well, that's debatable. Fear of the Lord. Some of them go to church. I hear some of
that
them.
Is what I'm saying. Because you can be, you see, you can be closer to the church.
Or Muslims.
You can be closer to the church.
What do you mean by close? Because some of them are very instrumental in church activities. They even read the Bible.
They are close,
I think every morning.
They are closer to the church, but are far away from God. I am telling you, you can be closer. It could be in a pastor. It could be a church member. He can be closer to the church. Or you'll be in the church, but he's far away from God.
Mr. Ankra, at what point do we have to say, well, he's done this, but he went to the people and said, they may not even know at the time when he came or who came, because they thought it was just somebody who was close to the case they were handling. They offered this. At what point do we have to determine and say, if it's your habit, you will collect it. If it's not your habit, you won't collect it? Because for all those that he approached, there were some who did not collect. There were some also who collected.
Absolutely. I mean, you have even answered the question. Because the truth of the matter is that some people refuse
to taking out the money.
Some of them make sure that he didn't even get close to them because they have barriers. You go through their clerks, and their clerks, they have indicated to them, make sure nobody comes to me with this.
That's exactly the point. That in any situation where you find it, it's not just in the judiciary, in other offices, in the other areas. Because I have had situations where I use...
You could have been lured.
Sure. But then my secretary and others will tell you, look,
don't like
as
money.
for this man, this type of thing, don't go before you, otherwise you will be embarrassed. And that is it. That's straightforward. The people will say you are no good. You are not a good person, you are not this. You know, I told you I was working in an insurance company, and you have to pay claims and vehicles that had accidents. Some people, the owner of the vehicle had the first option to buy. The other managers who use some other said, no, you know, because they don't know because people don't know, they will find a way of giving it to some people who are second-hand dealers, and then they have some click and this thing. So other areas that I had gone to, they come and say, oh, can we, the new manager, the area manager who had come, we want to continue what the other managers. They say, my sir, as for this man, don't attempt it. Don't make the attempt at all.
So your scruples are your scruples?
Just straight. And people can attest to it, that with all the years that I have left the office, those that I had worked with say the same testimony, that this one, he will do it. But this one, forget it, don't attempt it. So it's the nature of the person, the training and the person himself had dedicated himself and committed himself to a certain line, that there are certain things that he would not do. And that's, for me, that's the issue.
Now, do we show or not to show? Because there's another subject on its own. We're having the former executive director of the Media Foundation for West Africa, Professor Kwame Kakari, saying that any attempt by the court to block the public screening of Anan's video that exposes corrupt judges would be unconstitutional. I don't know what really means by that. He also says that once Anas has come under that close scrutiny, it also means that he's doing a very good job that everybody needs to be proud about. Already we're told that international networks have been hooked on to show the video on 23rd and I believe 24th as well. We're supposed to be doing the premiere on 22nd. Do we show or not show?
Well, I heard Professor Kwame Kakari loud and clear this morning, backing his colleague Anas. Though I'm not a journalist, but I'm in support of what Professor Kwame Kakari said. And now I will urge all the Inky fraternity group to support what their brother is doing, because single-handedly he's trying to defend the constitution of the land, because the constitution abhors corruption. You understand? So if such a person is taking that fight, then all and sundry who believe that this country should be clean of corrupt officials must be support. They should go behind the guy and support him. You understand? So legally, according to what Kwame Kakari said, I'm not a journalist, I told you. He has read their ethics, the laws that govern their operations. And once he has said it, and I'm not privy to their law, I support what he said. Until I have anything contrary, now we begin to doubt whatever is going to be shown out there.
Well, now we're talking law, but we're talking also the morale of it. Do we show or not show?
No, fine. My view is that what happened to the people at the port, the sex people, the Usu Children's Home, and then the Elubo,
the cocoa smuggling syndicate.
Yes, syndicate. I don't know whether they finished
the quack doctor.
Absolutely. Did they show Dr. Gabas? Was he? No, they were published. So how are we going to have, like Honorable Kuntu Blancy said, an animal farm? One leg good for and then two legs.
That is the judiciary. It's supposed to be the doyen.
So that is why
supposed to be the epitome. It's supposed to be the symbol.
To whom much is given, much is required. Okay, so that is why
you want to finish, I will take you somewhere.
That is why they should even be the first to say, look, let's show it. Let's show it. Because when it comes, these are people who can change your sleeping place.
Well, we're told
even somebody's life.
We're told he conducted investigations and even not showing videos, but let's say showing only clips, because sometimes you have screenshots. So screenshots of those screens put on and transcripts is getting some of the alleged perpetrators of whatever it is that is in the video collapsing, some of them getting all sorts of ailment and getting depressed and all. That is life-threatening and the taking of human life.
Yeah, you see, Roland, in everything that you do on earth, you have a payback time. So when you study logics...
Well, we're not God.
No, listen, we are talking about knowledge. Because when you talk about logics, he said there's a cause and there's effect. You understand? So every cause that you are going to cause, remember that it's an effect. You assess it first too. Whether will you be able to accumulate or take the effect that is coming. then you take that shot. But if you think you cannot take the effect that is coming, then don't cause anything. You understand? It's an individual option that you choose in life. You understand? Life is what you make. You make it by the creation and the thought you give it to it. So they decided that this is the line they will take. And they should know that the consequences for the action they took is what is happening to them. You understand? So who caused the papa? Caused the tune.
Okay, so to show or not to show, we'll see how that goes. A law lecturer, though, at the Faculty of Law, University of Ghana, Dr. Eduso Opoku says it may be too late for a High Court judge accused of taking bribes to stop the broadcasting of the audiovisual recording of the alleged act of bribery and corruption in those recordings. The cat is already out of the bag. It's been quoted as saying, Dr. Eduso Opoku said in reaction to the filed suit by Justice Paul Derry that for the reliefs that are being sought, there are intended consequences, of course, and the court could also rule otherwise. The judge fears that the intended public screening of the content of the audiovisual recordings to the public by the first defendant is prejudicial to the plaintiff's right to a fair hearing. He's among one of the 12 High Court judges implicated in the judicial scandal, and also insists that his privacy was violated when Tiger Eye Private Investigations recorded him without his knowledge or permission. Okay, our last commentary on this.
You know something, when it comes to you sitting in judgment of somebody, that one, these things don't come to mind.
You're backed by the law.
Yes.
You only do the interpretation of the law.
Right, but when it is you, then you start giving all sorts of interpretation to your permission was not sought. And who would seek somebody's permission to go and say, I want to find, we've heard that James Apieto has been taking bribes, so we are seeking permission to come and investigate you. I mean, what kind of this logic is this? For me, whether they go through the legal processes to go off the hook or not, the harm has been done. They should, honorably, if I were to honorably resign and say, I'm sorry, I mean, be bold and say, sorry, I did not, but this is what has happened and I want to leave the bench and end it there. The more they even argue and challenge these things, they are even making the thing, people are now getting more and more, interested in what is happening to the judiciary. That is what they should know.
Okay.
That they are eventually they're going to destroy the judiciary as a this thing. So for me, the earlier they cut this thing, the better, and accept the situation.